This podcast is sponsored by Nobody.
Hey dudes, this is Bonnie Hayes. I sang Girls Like Me on the original Valley Girl soundtrack. You're listening to Tommy Throwback Kovac on Splat from the Past. He fucking rocks.
Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I have Caron Maso Murray. Caron was one half of the duo in The Little Girls, along with her sister Michelle. Back in the early 80s, they were an indie new wave band. You know, they had the classic MTV hits How to Pick Up Girls and the Earthquake song, which mysteriously and strangely enough appeared on the second volume of the soundtrack to Valley Girl. And they're celebrating the 40th anniversary this year. And we're going to talk about all of that stuff. I want to find out, why they were such a short-lived phenomenon and what their origins were and stuff, because I don't know too much about them. Although I did listen to a previous interview where I heard just the gist of everything. And it's going to be a great conversation. They got to open for Billy Idol, the Plimsouls, the Boomtown Rats, Bow Wow Wow, all of that stuff back in the early 80s during the early MTV era. They were part of the LA new wave scene. We're going to kick off the last week of June summer in style. It's been a short month due to a 2-week hiatus from moving, but I'm like a freight train. I'm getting all these awesome people, and it's going to go on and on. Also, rest in peace, Frederick Forrest, who played the dad in Valley Girl. He died this past Friday. He had a Facebook account the last few months. I was trying to get him on the show, and sadly, it's not going to happen. Guy was in so many great movies. Not just Valley Girl, but Apocalypse Now, The Conversation, Hammett, The Rose, The Deliberate Stranger, Tucker, The Man in His Dreams. Goes on and on. He was such a great actor. Rest in peace, Frederick Forrest. So yeah, here is my interview with Caron Maso Murray. So, going back in time, first off, are you and Michelle twins?
We are not twins. We are sisters, though.
Okay, it was never clear if you two were twins or maybe a year or so apart or something like that.
We're about 5.5 years apart. She's my younger sister.
Wow, that is a wide gap.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Yeah, so it was always unclear to me. Did you both gravitate toward music early on in your childhood?
Music or performance, one of the two. We both took dance lessons, and we both liked comedy a lot, and we would make up dances and songs, and we would make up dances and songs and then perform them for our family. And one thing that my sister used to do, which was so funny, and we still laugh about it, is she would put like a slip that you would wear under a dress on her head.
Yeah.
She thought that made it look like she had long, long hair. And she would run around with the slip on her head. It was pretty funny whenever we were doing our thing.
Wow. Yeah, I heard you say in a previous interview you both loved Monty Python.
Yes, and we did love Monty Python. We kind of came in the 70s and 80s, so Monty Python was a big deal then, and, we would just memorize everything and then do the routines. We used to, the one, Ann Elk, something about a dinosaur. I'd like to talk about dinosaurs. They're thin on one end, much thicker in the middle, and thin again on the far end. And that's what she knew. Ann Elk, the scientist.
Yeah, oh my God, that is so awesome. I'm yet to get somebody from the Monty Python movies on here, because a lot of them are either dead or they're not on social media, the supporting actors from the movies.
That's right.
I'm a huge fan of the Monty Python movies as well. Who else did you like in comedy?
Steve Martin.
Oh, yeah.
I actually saw Steve Martin live on a date with my boyfriend at the time. in Denver, Colorado, where I was living for a few years. And it was great. You know, it was when he played the ukulele and had a arrow through his head, and
Yep.
you know, the original jokes on the first album.
Yeah, there were so many people who told him that routine was not going to work, and look what happened.
Oh, he's just amazing. He's like an original, like Zach Galifianakis.
Right.
You know, he's so funny and so different. I just saw his first TV appearance on, I guess it was The Late Show or something, and he was just so committed and different, you know. I like that in comedy.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Do you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Probably a Beatles album.
Probably a Beatles album.
I mean, my parents bought me Sgt. Pepper, so I was still too young to be buying my albums. And they bought me Revolver.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have been later. It might have been like a Jimi Hendrix album or Led Zeppelin, something like that.
That's awesome. How about the first?
I collected all the Beatles music. My parents helped me with that. My parents were both very into music, and my dad played a lot of classical music, and you know, he would make sure anything I really wanted to listen to, I listened to it. And so we always had music.
How about the first concert you ever attended?
So yeah, the first concert was Led Zeppelin, the Led Zeppelin 2 album.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first concert I went to.
Nice.
Yeah.
When did you start playing guitar?
When I was about 12.
Mm-hmm. Was it
I played a lot of folk music, like, you know, I was into just like Joan Baez and Judy Collins and Blind Faith and the Beatles and later Crosby, Stills and Nash, things like that. But I learned the basic folk songs, you know, If I Had a Hammer and,
mm-hmm.
you know, Riggedy Tiggedy Tin, Tim Lair, and, you know, just basic folk stuff I used to like to play. And then I didn't start writing songs until I was, you know, in my late teens.
Nice. So, were you both born and raised in L.A.?
Yeah, we were both born and raised in the San Fernando Valley. We were Valley girls.
Nice. So you lived up to the image of the little girls.
What's that?
So you both lived up to the image of the little girls.
Well, that's who we were, you know.
Yeah.
Pretty much that was a pretty pure expression of who we were at that time.
Yeah. So did you two have a band in high school?
What?
Did you two have a band in high school?
No. My sister was in high school.
Uh-huh.
I was already out of school when the band started.
Right. Oh, that's right. You told me the age gap. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you two come to form the Sex Blisters?
Oh my God, that was so much fun. So we were doing one of those acts, you know, with kind of a comedy routine, but I liked music so much. We did it in front of a band that this guy I was dating at the time, he put a band together and he had this big party and he brought us up on stage in front of the band and we did our little routine and it was quite well received, and a couple of people in the industry, one way or another, approached us, and this one guy wanted us to do, you know, come to his house, and he would put a band behind us, and he would video us.
Right.
And so that's how that happened. And so he, you know, we did that's how the beginning of the Little Girls, because he would put us up in front of girl bands like My Boyfriend's Back and I don't know, and then a couple of songs that I wrote. And so it's like I agreed to do the songs he wanted if he would let me throw in a couple of mine on video with a band behind me, and that's how it kind of started. And we called that the Sex Blisters because we did the song called I Want to Kill My Mommy, which was what's it called? Oh God, I can't think anymore. What's it called? A parody.
A parody.
Of the Sex Pistols, Anarchy in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah. But then how did you go from the Sex Blisters to the Little Girls?
I think things kind of cooled off with that guy, and then I just met some other musicians and started rehearsing.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then we started doing the songs that were mine from the Sex Blisters, and then we changed the name to the Little Girls. Because we were the focal point, my sister and I, up in front. And the guys, you know, provided a rock and roll back, you know?
Nice. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you both exuded a Shirley Temple-esque dynamic, you know?
Yeah. We were young and tender.
Now, I've talked to many musicians from that time in LA, and in that time in LA, you know, there was these organic music scenes. You had the punks, the new wavers, the Paisley Underground, and of course, the heavy metal scene was its own animal. You know, this was pre-internet. Everyone around town knew each other and hung out more.
Exactly.
It was such a magical time, but now it's gone.
Well, anything could happen in those days. People were getting signed by big record labels right and left, you know?
Yeah.
And it was very exciting, you know, very inspiring time.
Yeah, I mean, anything went back then, it seems. Did you guys play the Whiskey A Go-Go?
Yeah, we played the Whiskey once. We played the Starwood once, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We played the Roxy a few times. We opened for Billy Idol at the Roxy.
Yeah.
So we played at the Country Club a lot. Do you remember the Country Club?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who were the other bands you saw around?
You know, the Bangles and the Go-Go's and
yeah.
the New Cats. Let's see, the Walking Wounded. These were the local bands. But we opened for the Pretenders, the Call, the Plimsolls. Let's see. The Bus Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did a lot of shows with the Bus Boys. And, gosh, I can't even remember.
Okay,
really. A lot of groups.
Let me throw some names out there. The Dream Syndicate.
Oh, yeah, the Dream Syndicate, yep. We did a show with them on USA Cable. Live at the Club Lingerie.
Oh, was it Night Flight?
I don't think it was Night Flight.
Mm-hmm.
It was, God, I can't remember the name.
It's okay.
Show. Kip knows everything. If you want to do a follow-up call with Kip about any of this, he knows. He is the historian.
I reached out to him in December. He had just lost a member in his family, he told me, and he told me to wait a month. And every time I've followed up with him, you know, he hasn't responded.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his niece.
I would love to talk to him though. Let's see, Oingo Boingo, were they around?
Yep, they were. We may have even opened for Oingo Boingo at Madame Wong's in Chinatown, I think.
Yeah. Do you remember the Susan Justin band?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know how long she had her band for. I talked to her recently. She composed scores for Roger Corman movies at that time that her husband was directing. Yeah.
Yeah. What was her name?
Susan Justin.
Huh. Because I knew a lot of those same people.
Yeah, she had blonde hair, and she had that.
No, I didn't know her, though. I didn't know her.
Yeah, she had that punk rock look to her. The Waitresses.
Yes, I loved the Waitresses, but I didn't know them personally.
Because I talked to Chris Butler, the guitarist, a few years ago.
They were so great, you know.
They were, it's just like the little girls seemed like, parallel to them in terms of, the style you were bringing out of bringing, satire and music together.
Right.
Did you know Pleasant Gaiman?
I knew her. You know, I wasn't super friends with any of those people, but I knew her on the scene. I knew who she was. She probably knew who I was.
Yeah, I've had her on a couple of times. She is so funny. One of the funniest women I've ever met in my life.
No, I remember that she was very cool.
Yeah. So how long was it before Passport Records took notice of you guys?
I think we'd been together about 2 years, 2.5, 3 years maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And we had gotten a single out on Rodney on the Rock, Volume 2 or something. And it was our Earthquake song, and Rodney was friends with Robbie Fields, Robbie, who did Posh Boy Records, and he's the one that put that out. Posh Boy put that Rodney on the Rock series out.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, we were working with our manager, Toby Mamus, at the time, and he was able to get us that deal.
Yeah, Passport Records, was a label that had like David Johansen and Todd Rundgren's Utopia, and Greg Hawkes from the Cars did a solo album from them. They were like a little label that was like putting all these, punk and new wave guys on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rodney. Oh my God! I mean, he brought so many bands at that time into the public attention on K-Rock. It's amazing what he did.
Yeah, no, he was amazing. I mean, what a unusual individual.
Yeah.
Rodney was.
Yeah, I heard you could still catch him over at Cantor's.
Yep, you can. In fact, my sister, some friends of ours from Minneapolis, were in town playing at someplace downtown, and they all met Rodney at Cantor's on Saturday night. So he's still doing that. Was just recently.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the Thank Heaven mini LP, it's produced by Ed Stasium, who at the time was coming off of being Talking Heads engineer, and he had produced the Ramones' Road to Ruin album, which in my opinion is the last great album they did before drugs took over.
Yeah. He was actually the engineer on the album.
Oh, okay.
Or a co-producer. It's produced by Liam Sternberg of Walk Like an Egyptian.
Yes.
Or he wrote that, and Rachel Sweet he produced. I don't know if you remember her.
Yeah, I remember Rachel Sweet. Yeah, what were those guys like to work with?
They were good to work with. We didn't have a lot of time. We didn't have a huge budget or a lot of time, so it wasn't a super creative thing. We just kind of went in and laid down a lot of tracks,
mm-hmm.
and just you know, they produced it. There were things I would have done differently, but we just didn't have the time, you know. But it was, you know, looking back on it, it was very cute, and it did really well. So, but you know,
What would you do differently?
well, I did it on a subsequent album, so I just like the production value on the white album, or the clear album, we called it, the clear album.
The clear album, yeah.
Yeah, and that had Not a Perfect World, Really Want to Be With You, and
yeah.
Really Want to, I mean, Any Way You Want It by Dave Clark 5.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just like that recording
It is
better, but we weren't able to sell that one, so what can I say?
Yeah, that is a good album, though.
Yeah, we had a lot of issues getting a deal for some reason. I think we should have gotten one. I think it would have been really great, and it was just one of those things that didn't work out for us. And then the band, it's hard to keep a band together for multiple years, and you know, people have to move on. They've got stuff to do, or they get another band. So, you know.
Did the title "Thank Heaven" come from Gigi?
From Gigi?
Yeah.
The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was from, you know, what's his name? The French.
Rex Harrison.
No, the guy who sang the song. What's his name?
Wasn't it Rex Harrison?
No, it was a French guy. Thank heaven for little
girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me look it up here.
I can't think of who it was right now.
Maurice Chevalier.
Really, my memory is not great.
It was Maurice Chevalier, right?
Maurice Chevalier. That's right.
Yeah. I love that reference. It's so subtle, yet at the same time you think, why is it Thank Heaven, you know, for the people who don't know Gigi?
Well, one thing I used to love when we were playing is, you know, they'd have between bands, you'd have all the music playing while they're changing the stage, and then right before we'd go on, we'd put that track on.
Yeah.
And everybody would pay attention, you know.
That's so cool.
That was fun.
That's so cool. So what's the genesis of How to Pick Up Girls?
That was a collaboration with my friend and bass player Jeff Fair, who Jeff had the lyrics, and or he had some music and a lyrical idea. That's what it was. And he said he'd loved an idea about writing a song about that. Do you remember that ad that would be on the back of like Archie magazines? It's buy this book, How to Pick Up Girls.
That was way before my time.
Bonnie Weaklings.
Yeah.
You know, and then this book, buy this book, and you'll know all the tips, how to pick them up. You know.
Yeah.
We just thought that was hilarious, and so I believe I wrote most of the lyrics for that.
I love the song, and I'll tell you why, because I was so awkward around girls for most of my childhood into my early 20s. The pickup lines and the song, and this song was my only reference for trying to get dates. You know, I had to.
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah. I had to lose weight, be myself, and get advice from my now deceased best friend who taught me how to get girls when he and I reconnected when we were 23. And it worked like a charm. It worked like a charm.
Yeah.
Is that...
Well, a lot, it's all confidence, right? Any guy with confidence can move in, you know, if he's got the right line. It's all about confidence. So probably those things made you more confident.
It was confidence. It was a little bit, not a lot of cockiness, but just enough. And just be yourself, you know. And always remember the ones that don't, you know, appreciate you, they're not worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah. and I'm very great. I'm very grateful for that. Is the guitar riff on that song inspired by Devo's "Girl You Want"?
Just a girl, I'm just a girl, the girl you want.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It kind of reminds me of it a little bit.
Jeff Bear would be the one to ask, because I think he wrote that. That was his. And he wasn't a Devo kind of guy. So I would say probably not. But I can hear that. But, yeah, I don't know. You could ask Jeff.
Yeah, and the way in which you two sing on it, it reminds me of, what's her name? Annabelle from Bow Wow Wow.
Oh, right. Yeah, we opened for them, too, at the Palace in Hollywood.
Yeah, I believe that in those days, everyone was influenced by their peers.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Everyone was sponges and being influenced by them.
Well, it's still that way, really.
Yeah. Where was the video?
I mean, that's how we develop bodies of knowledge and, things like that, is by imitating, embellishing, and improving upon.
Right. Where was the video filmed?
Where?
Yeah.
Or when?
Or
it
where?
was filmed at the Country Club, probably in 82 or 83, whenever the album came out.
Beverly Hills Country Club?
No, the Country Club in Sherman Oaks, Reseda.
Oh, okay.
Reseda Boulevard. That was the big club. That was a big club where all the bands, it was like in the valley, but it was a big arena.
Nice.
So,
And Ed Stasium directed it?
Yes, he did. He and his friend. They had a video company. Two guys from Brooklyn or something.
Interesting. Wow, who would have thought that he had a filmmaker side to him? Because he's such a great producer and engineer.
Well, he knew. He and his friend, they knew what they were doing. We had storyboards, and they were very professional, and we did it really fast, and it got on MTV.
Oh yeah, I used to see it on VH1 The Big 80s when I was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny video.
It was VH1. That was the thing that put us on at the Club Lingerie.
Yeah.
With the Dream Syndicate.
What's the genesis of the Earthquake song?
That was very early. That was one of the first songs. We had an earthquake in, let's see, had to be in 80-something or 79. There was some earthquake. And it was not the Northridge earthquake. It was way before that. Mm-hmm. But it scared me. And I was complaining to my boyfriend at the time about how scary it was, even though I like earthquakes. They do scare me a little. And he said, why don't you write something about it? And that might get rid of your fear. And that was a great thing for him to say. And he had some ideas, and I had some ideas, so I took his cool ideas like ride down Sunset like a beach boy today. And let's see, I hope I don't fall in a crack. He's like, you should think of things like smack, smack, I just fell in a crack. Like break your mother's back, things like that. And so I just ran with it, and I wrote the music as well.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a Beatles Rubber Soul song, much like...
Oh, God, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's much like, the Bangles' Hero Takes a Fall, in that it's got that twangy mid-60s guitar, and those vocal harmonies are very distinctive,
Yeah.
When people...
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, when you tell people that you were in a band and you did the Earthquake song, did they ever mix it up with the Michael Jackson song?
Did Michael Jackson do an earthquake song?
He did. It was off of his History Greatest Hits album.
Don't even know that one. I like Michael Jackson, but I don't know that one.
The video was very compelling and disturbing.
Oh, well, I'll have to take a look for that.
Oh, yeah. They used to play it all the time back in the 90s, all the time.
Well, who knows why I didn't know about it.
I don't think it was a big hit song, but just the video was so compelling they played it a lot. And I even think it won some MTV Music Awards, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
Why is the Earthquake song on the sequel soundtrack to Valley Girl?
Oh, because the guy from, I think it was Bomp Records, put that Valley Girl track out. And he always thought we should have made a bigger splash.
It just should have been in the movie, but it's not. I was like, wait a minute, the Earthquake song's not
How
in
does that happen?
Valley Girl. Yeah.
Lucky us. So he just put it in there because he liked us. And so that was a lucky thing.
Yeah, the movie studio Atlantic, they spent so much money on their low budget to have popular songs in the movie Valley Girl that for the remainder that they were making movies until they went under, they were hiring like local LA musicians to do songs because they knew that they wouldn't have to pay them a ton of money like they had to pay for the popular songs, you know, from like Men at Work and Josie Cotton and so forth.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but Valley Girl is such a great movie. Do you like the movie?
I love the movie.
Yeah.
That was, a really good movie.
I've interviewed 3 people from it, and I had Bonnie Hayes, who did Girls Like Me, on here. And we just lost the great Frederick Forrest the other day, who played the dad. He had just started a Facebook account, and I DM'd him to get him on the podcast, and sadly, it didn't happen.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's happened.
That was a really fun movie.
Yes, it's happened to me more than once, sadly, but yeah, it is a really good movie. Is it true?
We also had the Earthquake song lyrics were in the movie they were in the book Less Than Zero.
Yeah.
By Bret Easton Ellis, but when they made the movie, they didn't put it in. They were, somebody was thinking about it, but then it didn't get put in.
Interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Is it true that Clem Burke played drums on some of the songs?
Clem Burke and Nigel Harrison were the rhythm section on the Clear album.
Okay, the Clear album. Okay. Yeah, I like Not a Perfect World. That's a great song. Where did that come from?
That was it was about breaking up with somebody. I wrote that one, but where I got the hook line, Not a Perfect World, was this guy I was working for, Jerry Harrison. He was a producer. Mm-hmm. And he produced a TV show that I worked on called Rock and Roll the First 25 Years, which was all recorded at that same country club. And he was a crazy guy. Like, for instance, I'd be sitting there, he'd walk in, and he would take a note. He would write a note, and he'd stick it on the wall and take a knife and stab the wall with the knife to stick the note to the wall. Okay, that's the kind of guy he was. And every once in a while, he would say, if things didn't go his way, he would just go, it's not a perfect world. Not a perfect world. Not a perfect world. Everything, about everything. So I just used that that's where I got it.
Yeah. It's a good song. There was a dancer who used to dance to the Earthquake song on American Bandstand.
Right.
Yeah. So is she the one who kind of made the song, legendary?
She picked the song to use on the show. I don't remember her name right now, but I could confirm it if you mentioned it.
Did you guys get to go on American Bandstand?
No.
No. How about Solid Gold?
No.
Okay. It was just the USA show you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, Yeah, we were on that, and not a lot else. I mean, Kip knows every single. I'll call him and try to get him to talk to you.
Okay.
But he knows every single thing that happened. So, and also there is a new album that, I mean, I hate to tell people this because it's been so many years coming out, but there's a whole retrospective of our whole career, a CD, a double CD that's coming out.
Oh, I love
double
it.
CD or a long CD. And we've already got the artwork for it. It's going to be based on the artwork for Thank Heaven. And it's really going to be great. And it has stuff that Michelle recorded with Jonathan Paley. It has stuff we recorded in Hollywood after The Little Girls. It's just got all kinds of different stuff in it, and it's going to be really good if it comes out.
I love it.
We're waiting for this guy. I think he's great. It's an Australian label called Playback Records. It's a reissue label, so he's working on that.
Nice, love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned before, you opened for Billy Idol, the Plimsouls, Boomtown Rats, Bow Wow Wow. Any good stories there?
Pretenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy Idol had a fit the night we were opening for him, and threatened to not play and all that, and left the club, and then came back and played. So that was a big thing. I got to sit on the back of the stage when Chrissie Hynde was playing. That was very cool. I mean, I think that was the most fun night I ever had, was opening for the Pretenders and being out of town, because we didn't get to go on tour a lot. And let's see. Other than that, it was always fun opening for the Plimsouls, because I love the Plimsouls. And
yeah,
I ended up taking songwriting classes from, oh my God, I'm so bad. Who's the lead singer of the Plimsouls? I can't think.
Peter Case.
Peter Case. So I took, he taught a private songwriting group, and somebody told me about it, and I got into it. And I took his class like 2 or 3 times, and each time I would write an incredible song. So these weren't little girl songs, but they were, my more mature stuff that I've been working on.
Your more mature stuff.
Yeah. You can't just write, pump out little girl songs for your whole life. That was a real thing. All those songs were written about our growing up, so.
When you opened for Janice Ian, what was she like? Did she mentor you in any way?
Oh my God, she was amazing. So that was when I was working on that TV show, and we were at the country club filming, and I sat at the floor at the feet of Tina Turner while she was interviewed. Anyway, I actually ate dinner with Janice Ian, and she had seen the recording, and she thought it was adorable, and she was I told her how much I loved her, because I was really into Janice Ian back in the day, when tend to my door, baby, face is clean and shining. It's not our kind. What's that song?
17. At 17.
Well, that was that album. I learned the truth at 17. That song, and then there was the other song about dating a black guy, and she, Society's Child.
Society's Child,
that was a fabulous song. So I've done that song, and I've done it 17 in my shows. And I was telling Janice Ian how much she was an influence on me when I was growing up, because I was listening to her when she was a child,
That is wonderful.
I was a younger child. But she was a child when I was listening when she first came out with all this great stuff. She was incredible.
Yes, she was. Absolutely. So, after the band, broke up and stuff, like, so did you have another band?
I did. I had another band that I was kind of my other persona, which is kind of like Led Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I did a 3-piece power trio where I played guitar and sang, and then I had a bass player and a drummer. And in that, I called it Caron Murray 3-piece, or CM3P. And we recorded 5 songs, so we recorded 5 songs. I worked with some pretty avant-garde musicians on those songs, and the drummer for Suicidal Tendencies. And because I'm talking to you on the phone, I can't remember his name right now.
Suicidal Tendencies, yeah.
So anyway, he was such a good drummer. And I mean, that would have been my favorite thing to do, was that band. But that band, we played around all over the place, Orange County and LA, and I couldn't get any interest in that, but I do think it was some of my best work.
Yeah. Is that music on YouTube or anything? I'd like to check it out.
Yeah. The songs I would recommend are, I called one Für Elise, like the Beethoven sonata.
Uh-huh.
And then one is called, I'm just got to think of it. Rain. Oh, the name of the CD is Rain.
Rain.
CM3P Rain. So there's 5 songs on it.
Nice. I'm going to check it out later on.
I play all the guitar on it, so. Except I got Rick Cox, who's a film composer. He played on Take You There. He played the lead guitar on that. So.
In 2004, you guys did the Little Girls did a reunion concert, right?
Yes.
Yeah, was that fun?
Yeah. That was so much fun. And then we put the band back together. So that was so much fun that we had to put the band back together and record another album, and which was the end of the Little Girls. But it was a good album. I do love it. It was released in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, that was a good album. A lot of that'll be on the retrospective that's coming out someday. And that was we did that, but we were all older and we were all different, and so it took a long time to record and produce, and it was like pulling teeth from everybody in the group. And so at the end of it, I was pretty done with trying to work with, within the Little Girls, so.
That's sad, because I'll tell you, there's these 80s nostalgia tours that have been going on.
No, I know, but
yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't.
80s in the Sand is this, week-long festival that happens in the Dominican Republic or Mexico, depending on where they go every year. And, oh my God, people love it. I mean, they have all the new wave and hair metal people there, and like people from the movies, the teen sex comedy movies like Valley Girl and so forth. It's amazing. I haven't gone yet, but yeah, that would be something, if the Little Girls could play one.
Yeah, no, we did a stint as the Little Girls in Minneapolis with our friends out there.
Mm.
We opened for what's her name? anyway, it was the Girls Gone Rock and Roll, Great Girls Rock and Roll. GGR is the name of the festival. Anyway, we played that, and who was still Ronnie Spector.
Oh, yeah.
Open for Ronnie Spector there.
Oh.
As the Little Girls, we did a whole short set.
What was she like?
She was great. She was really good, and she was really nice.
She seemed like she was nice, yeah.
The 5, 6, 7, 8s were there. We were opening for them as well. And, they were great. I mean, they just party. They were a girl group from Japan.
Wow.
And they were just a lot of fun. And Nikki Corvette was there, and, you know. So that was all a lot of fun.
So what do you got going on these days? I know that you do yoga.
I'm a yoga teacher, yeah. I just kind of retired from working a job. And so I think I'm going to maybe get a little bit more into my music again. But it's mostly I just write songs, and I go to, like, parties, and sometimes we'll have a jam, you know, and I sing. And, you know, I can still do it, you know, but it's whether I have time to really put into it, and I don't really want to perform anymore. I would love to do some more recording. I like recording more than I like trying to put a band together and get everybody to rehearse, and, you know, I was always kind of like the slave driver, and that puts you in a weird position too, so, you know, everybody worked really hard. I'm not, you know, but it was just like, I'm really into rehearsing a lot and making it really good. And anyway, it's hard to get that kind of commitment out of a group, you know.
Yeah, yoga's become very popular since, like, the internet came. I mean, I've met so many actors who, like, went into yoga, became instructors and stuff, and I see so many people do it. It's a phenomenon.
Yeah, no, it's a real lost ancient art, you know. So it is something that is very powerful, and if you practice it regularly and correctly and study it, not just do it as an exercise, it's incredibly life-changing. So I really love yoga, and I am studying with some pretty cool teachers, and I'm teaching at my house, and also hope to get back into a little bit of songwriting in the next years.
What's your songwriting process? Do you just, like, start with the music, or do you start with the lyrics?
It depends. Sometimes I just have a melody in my head, and I'll just kind of, I have a little hand, you know, on my iPhone, I just use an app, and I just record the rhythm and the melody line, and if I have a lyric idea, I throw that in, and then later I'll sit down. I have tons of these little bits, you know, and some of them when I go back to them, I go, wow, I really got to do something with that. And then, so that's what I plan to work on, stuff like that. And I have a friend out here in Portland, Maine, who will work with me a little in the studio. So we'll see what happens. I also might get my own. I'm trying to figure out, like, an easy setup that I could record myself doing things. But it's hard. That part, the engineering part, is very tricky for me, so.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
I do love recording and layering and producing and all that. I do love that.
You seem like you love it. Have you ever thought about writing a memoir?
Writing is hard, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a good writer, and I had thought about it, but there's so many things I would want to write about, not just the little girls, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a big commitment to write something, but my daughter and my husband have both been doing a lot of writing recently, and so maybe I'll get into it with them. And I have time to do stuff now, so that's one lovely thing about reaching this age. So.
That is so awesome. Real quick, we gotta play my secret silly game. This is
Okay, secret silly.
This is a series of silly slumber party questions. No win or lose. It's just pure fun. And how the game works is I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me that exact same question, and I answer it. And feel free to comment on answers because they might be funny.
Okay.
Okay, Karen, are you ticklish?
I am. Tommy, are you ticklish?
Oh, yes. If you tickled me without warning, I might hit you in the groin.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
Innie. Is your belly button an innie or outie?
It's an innie.
Okay.
What color are your toenails painted?
Hot pink.
Love it.
What color are your toenails painted?
Light purple.
Light purple, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, I like to go elaborate.
Yeah, I like men that go for a pedicure.
Oh, yeah. I've been doing that since I was 13.
Yeah, I send my husband once in a while. Or he sends himself, actually.
I love it. What would you say is your best personality trait?
I don't have a great personality. Let's see.
Oh, come on.
Smiling.
Smiling.
What's your best personality trait?
I never heard that one before. I have empathy and I have no filter.
I'll give you a better answer. I have empathy and I do care about the truth, but that's not a personality thing. That's deeper than personality.
No, that's a good answer, though. I like that.
Okay.
And then my favorite question, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Dog poop.
Oh, that's a popular one.
Is there a stinky smell that makes you gag?
Either farts or feet.
Yeah, or cheese, certain cheeses.
Oh, yeah, especially if it's, Stilton cheese?
No, Limburger is the worst one.
Oh, boy.
My husband likes to put stinky cheeses up on the refrigerator where it's warm and up on top of the refrigerator and let them wait till they crawl down from the refrigerator before he wants to eat them.
Oh.
So sometimes I'm walking in my kitchen thinking the garbage needs to go out or something. Cheese.
Love it. I love it. Well, Karen, I thank you so much for coming on today and sharing all these great stories. And I'm so glad that little girl's CD, was it like an anthology coming out soon?
Yes. I'll go bug the guy again today. I just bugged him about a month ago, and he said, yeah, I'm still worthy. We're getting there. So I do think it's going to come out, and I'll let you know for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate it. You have yourself a great summer and be safe out there.
Hey, you too, Tommy. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Caron Maso Murray. Ain't she a sweetheart? What a great lady. Oh, my God. Great stories there about that early 80s new wave scene in L.A. I'm so glad we talked today. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes. How to pick up girls.